I would say reevaluate your routine, reevaluate what your expectations are, and sometimes you do need to just be like, I'm really sorry, but your attitude is crappy, and I'm sorry, like dad has to go to work every day. Sometimes he doesn't want to. Mom has to get up and take care of all of you guys, and I love you, but sometimes I wish that I was in Hawaii with a cold drink and my butt and my feet in the sand, you know? But we have to persevere and we have to keep doing what we're doing. Check our attitude, check your attitude as a mom. Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys are all doing good. Today's video is a Q&A. I put a call out for questions over on my Instagram, and I got a handful of them, so I'm gonna answer them today for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoy this. If there are any questions or anything that you want more information on or would like me to go more into detail about, please feel free to comment down below and I can either chat with you more in the comments or I'll do a separate video on it. All right, the first thing I'm seeing is a snarky comment from my friend Ashley over at Grace and Grit. I'm not going to read to you guys what she said to me, but I will read to her real question after her initial snarky one. Okay, what is one thing you hope to do different in 2022? I think the one thing I really want to do differently is I want to focus on being consistent versus being constantly swayed by how I'm feeling. I've definitely seen that in my life, and so I want to be more anchored this year in my convictions, in my intentions, and our focus, and obviously in Christ. How do you deal with kids complaining about doing school? Maybe it's just mine. It's not. And any tips? So I would probably guess that every homeschooling family has at least one that just always complains about doing school. And maybe not. If you don't have a complainer, then you are living a life that I dream about. And sometimes it rotates. I feel like for my kids, we'll get a really good streak going with one, and then we get into a rut, and then we might be in a rut with one for a while, and then that child seems to really like school at the time, you know? I have always been very cautious about like changing curriculum up halfway during the school or constantly trying different curriculums for different kids, simply because I feel like sometimes we can blame a curriculum for something when sometimes it's more about the attitude and more about maybe learning a different way of teaching it. So I really want to instill in my kids hard work, dedication, perseverance, even when it's not fun. And I'm not saying that homeschooling doesn't have to be fun or can't be enjoyable. That's not what I'm saying. But I still want to see something through, even if it's not like our favorite for the most part. Obviously, there are going to be situations where we're like, okay, this just isn't working. No one likes it, so let's just stop doing it. And I totally get that too. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying about that. And tips for it, maybe take a look at your schedule, your routine. Who do you do schools for? Who do you do school first with? My children tend to, I have one specific kid that I'm thinking of that tends to complain a lot. And if I'm doing like boom, 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 thing after thing after thing with him, and I've got this list of things that he's got to crank out, he gets overwhelmed, overstressed. And so for him, he needs breaks. And so I see more complaining, more negative stuff coming out of his mouth when he hasn't had a break and he's feeling overwhelmed and he's pushed to his limit. So maybe step back and reevaluate what your schedule looks like. Maybe have that child sit down with the younger one and read a story or play with some Play-Doh for a few minutes while you work with another kid. You don't have to start with one child and go through all of this stuff in a matter of an hour and get it all done if it's going to be something that is a constant battle or a constant fight. Maybe that constant complaining or that battle that you're having is just, they're just signs that you might need to reevaluate how much you're having them do, what your expectation level is of them. We have redone our homeschool schedule so many times, and I feel like we just continue reevaluating how we do things. And it might be because I have a baby that then turned into a toddler, and then we have a toddler that is turning into a 4-year-old that no longer naps. And so our schedules just change a lot. I would say reevaluate your routine, reevaluate what your expectations are. And sometimes you do need to just be like, I'm really sorry, but your attitude is crappy, and I'm sorry, like dad has to go to work every day. Sometimes he doesn't want to. Mom has to get up and take care of all of you guys, and I love you, but sometimes I wish that I was in Hawaii with a cold drink and my butt and my feet in the sand, you know? But we have to persevere, and we have to keep doing what we're doing. Check our attitude, check your attitude. As a mom, there's a lot of different things that you could take into consideration depending on the situation, you know? So I hope that was helpful. I know that was kind of all over the place, but I don't know your specific ages or anything like that to kind of go off of, so hopefully that was helpful. Handy crafts for boys or gender neutral. Ooh, crafts. Gosh, I am not a crafty mom. I am the mom, I'm looking up something right now as I'm talking to you guys. I am the mom that is like, is it gonna make a giant mess? Is my baby gonna get into it? And then my older kids are gonna be screaming because my toddler and my baby are trying to like interrupt what they're doing. That's immediately the reel that starts playing through my mind. So I'm very cautious with crafts, at least in this season of my life. I'm like, how about you just color with crayons and not markers? Please tell me that I'm not alone. The couple things that came to mind. The first is the Land of Storybooks has a box. It's like a subscription box. I believe you don't have to like sign up for every single month, but if you're wanting something fun in the middle of the winter time, check out Land of Storybooks, the Land of Storybooks, because it comes with a book to read. It comes with crafts that correlate with the book. And so for the winter time, that's amazing because you've got a brand new read aloud to do with the kids and crafts that correlate with it. And there's a letter in it. Like, she goes in above and beyond to make these boxes so magical, so I would recommend that. I would also recommend looking into KiwiCo. As you can tell, there's a theme. I like things to be already set and ready for me. I'm not someone that scours over Pinterest. If I go on Pinterest to find something, I'm probably gonna be on Pinterest 4 hours later looking at something completely different and having accomplished nothing. And so if it can come in the mail to me and they can have instructions and all the things that I need for it, your girl is sold. So KiwiCo boxes, those are amazing. If you have birthdays or holidays or anything like that, that is an amazing idea for other relatives to gift your children. If you're like, hey, we don't need another Lego set, could you please consider a KiwiCo box? Or the dollar store, they've got like the wood ones to paint. That's basically what I do. I am not the crafty mom. I'm sorry.
Future editing Jaimie coming on here super quick. Ashley from the Vanilla Tulip, also Home and Haven homeschooling community. She runs a blog and is also on Instagram where she shares seasonal bundles, and I have shared it over on my Instagram as well. But they are bundles that she releases every season that have super cute seasonal activities as well as crafts. So those are a good option for crafts as well. I will go ahead and just link all of her information down below. So if you guys want to keep an eye out on those, you can.
A little more of your story. I haven't been following for very long. A little more of my story. That is very broad. Well, I started YouTube 9 years ago, and I had my oldest and she was just a couple months old, and then I had 2 under 2, 3 under 3, basically vlogged through all my pregnancies, kind of shared a lot of my life over the last 9 years, battles with postpartum depression, mental health. I was really passionate about minimalism for a while, and my heart is tugged towards minimalism because it just is, as someone that struggles with like anxiety and clutter, really is very triggering for me. As you can hear, my kids are like, they're gonna start banging on the door. They're on the other side playing right now. I can hear them flying back and forth. My husband is here, but he is apparently doing something else other than taking care of the baby who's banging on the door behind me. So I've shared a lot of that over the last 9 years here on my channel. I feel like you guys have seen me grow up in a lot of ways. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So and I have an autoimmune disease that attacks my thyroid that I am trying to work on healing right now. So that involves diet change, exercise, trying to manage stress. As someone that has anxiety and depression and I struggle with mental health, just overall, that's difficult for me. I've been married to my high school sweetheart. We have 5 children that you hear behind me. One of them's gonna open the door. I know it. Oh, it's getting pushed open, I think. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We have been married for 13 years, which is insane to me that it's been that long. And we live in Michigan, if you can't tell from my accent. So there's so much more, but that is a little bit more about me since you haven't been following for very long. How is your health and your Hashimoto's? Would you mind sharing what helped? So I do plan on doing separate videos about my Hashimoto's just because I feel like it's such a specific topic that some people might really not care about. And so as far as like a real quick answer, how is my health and my Hashimoto's? I feel like I was doing really well this last year and then I kind of burnt out. When we got COVID, it pushed my body into an inflamed state again. And I don't know if it was because of everything that I was taking for COVID or if it was just because of COVID itself, but the swelling, the inflammation, the weight gain as far as like water weight from inflammation, like it came back with a vengeance. And so I'm not on the other side of that just yet, but I'm kind of working through that. I have a diet change. I really try hard to go gluten-free and possibly will be probably going grain-free as well. So it is a diet change for me, a lifestyle change. As far as my overall health, I would say that I don't know. I feel like I have a ways to go. I'm still about 25 pounds over what my normal weight is. And I know if you have a thyroid disease, hypothyroidism, you can tend to carry like that extra 20 pounds. But I also know that if you're healing your gut and your autoimmune disease is kind of under control, then you can lose that weight and you can feel a lot better. So that's where I'm at as far as my thyroid goes and my autoimmune disease. Okay, so there's a couple about trauma and healing and those kinds of things. If you follow me on Instagram, I share a lot of things in my stories. I just share other people's things. Posts that I find encouraging, posts that are focused on boundaries in relationships, healing trauma, childhood trauma, parenting in a healthy way. All of those kinds of things. I really am passionate about that topic. And so I haven't shared really very much on my main channel about it, but I do share a lot of things that I find encouraging in that realm on Instagram and my Insta stories. And so that's, I believe, what that is asking about. And so I have shared that I have been focused on healing the way that I view relationships in my life, having healthy boundaries, healing from trauma that I didn't even know I had, but it affects the way that I view things, and I want to view things in the healthiest way possible. So I am focused on healing myself and healing my inner child. I believe that I have grown a lot since I started. And as I have grown, I have seen more and more within me that needs healing. And so I think the process is just going to continue on. What are you currently reading? Your favorite books of 2021? That sounds like an amazing topic for a video. So I'm going to do my favorite books of 2021 because I read a lot last year. A lot. I really enjoyed Audible a lot last year. And so I read so much. I started reading fiction books, like mysteries and thrillers. I don't know, it's so nice. I will be cleaning and I'll be listening to like a fictional mystery book, and it's just nice. I love a good accent, English or Irish accent when I'm listening to the narrator. You guys agree? You know what I'm saying? Advice on what to do when you want your husband to be more of the spiritual leader, but he's not. I guess my main advice that I would give you would be to find some kind of mentor for yourself. someone that has a marriage that you respect, someone that treats her husband in a way that you believe and you see as godly, and ask that person if they would pour into you, if they would mentor you. I think that the more that we strive to be godly women, and we focus on encouraging and uplifting our husbands and pouring into them and pouring into our own spiritual walks by being mentored and having wisdom given to us, the more naturally that happens with our husbands. However, I will say that their walk with Christ and their faith is their own. There's nothing that we can do to change that overnight. We can plant seeds. We can look into what the Bible talks about being a godly woman, what those character traits are, and focus on that in ourselves, and hope that and pray and ask God that it would continue to plant seeds in our husband and spur him in his faith. But being on our knees every day and praying for our husband, I believe, is one of the most powerful things we can do, because we're not in control of his faith. We're not in control of anybody else besides ourselves, right? We can't control what anyone else's choices look like. I also do want to touch on the fact that I think sometimes people that are in really unhealthy marriages where there's abuse or narcissism can sometimes lump that into being married to an unbeliever. And while I believe that the majority of people that are actively abusers or narcissists and hurt people are not believers, because their minds are not being transformed by the gospel and by the Holy Spirit, that is a different situation. And our church culture, especially in the US, has enabled abusive men by, instead of protecting their wives and families, they have shunned and isolated them, threatened them, and not taken care of the widows and orphans like the Bible calls the church to do. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Time is the chicken. So if you are in a situation like that where there is abuse, where there is active narcissism, control, it's a very unhealthy situation, I would say first and foremost to get help, to get you and your children into a safe place. Your safety and your children's safety is of utmost importance. So that is, I just want to add that caveat, because I want to make sure that I'm not being misheard in my response, and I'm not misunderstanding your question. Do you only use the good and the beautiful? Curious what other curriculums you've tried or liked. These are some good questions. No. So we use the good and the beautiful, I would say like 90%. I use Knotgrass. History, we use our Star Spangled Story, I think is, yes, the name of it. For our history, I use Knotgrass, and we love it. The reason I chose Knotgrass was because it is focused on elementary age, and as much as the good and the beautiful has really good content in their history, I just feel like my kids are so young. I wanted something that had like songs and tons of illustrations, and Knotgrass has crafts. Like for every time you finish a unit, there's a craft attached to it or something hands-on to do. It just was, I feel like, the best for our family in this season. So I use Knotgrass history, but for everything else, we do use the good and the beautiful. Considering 80-20 rule, what are some of the most effective methods in your homeschool? The most effective methods, I would say, would be to utilize nap time. We do group learning, so we have morning basket time, and that is when I implement time in the Bible, character development, our catechism. We do Spanish during that time. So morning basket covers just a wealth of topics. And we also do history and science together with everybody. And so history and science can sometimes be messy. It's not perfect. But as far as the one-on-one learning, math and English, math. My kids are currently doing teaching textbooks right now for math. That's another thing that we are using. And it honestly is because it was easier for me to have them do teaching textbooks in this season, because I was finding it really difficult to teach math separately and find all of the time to teach all of the subjects. So that is something that has been really helpful is utilizing teaching textbooks, which is a program and like on their tablet for math. And then we do like our one-on-one subjects. A really good method of homeschooling, I believe, that's been helpful for us is we rotate. So if I'm working with one of my older children, then my other older child will sit down and maybe read to my toddler or play on the floor with the baby. And so everybody works together during our homeschool day. I really try to do that because I feel like, one, it's important for them to spend time together. Two, it's important for them to see that it takes everybody's hands on deck to pull something like a homeschool day off. And I also think it's really important for them to learn to read to their other siblings. Of course, they're, improving their reading skills and things like that, but I just think that that's special too. I like that one-on-one time. So those are some of like our, just off the top of my head, methods that I feel like help in our homeschool. Okay, are you reading anything right now? Honestly, right now I'm focused on getting back into reading the Bible and just the Bible. I am planning on doing some more studies in the Bible as well, but right now I'm just reading the Bible. Tips on life and routine with a newborn and toddler. Hi, Kelsey. My biggest piece of advice for you would be to really just rest. Rest in knowing that your worth and your value is not based on how many dishes are in your sink, how often you clean your toilets, how often you change your sheets, if your kids' bedrooms are spotless, if you have a good cleaning routine implemented and you're sticking to it regularly. Your worth is not determined on that. Your worth is determined by Christ's blood shed for you. He tells you that when he looks at you, he sees you white as snow because his blood covers you. And so your worth is found in who God says you are. So I know that you probably just want like easy, accessible tips, and I totally get that. Sleep. Get as much sleep as you can. Even though you want to stay up and you want to binge watch Netflix, or get as much stuff done as you possibly can at nighttime because your kids are finally asleep and you can breathe, try to get as much sleep as you can, because if you have slept at nighttime, the next day you're going to feel more energized to do more, and you're not going to be grumpy or as grumpy. Take care of yourself as far as vitamins and water and showers go. Super, super important. We can forget about that. And do 1 load of laundry every single day. 1 load of laundry every single day. Do a load of laundry, put it away every day. If that's the only thing you do, do that. And have implemented times of cleaning throughout the day. So maybe like right before lunchtime you clean, or after lunchtime you clean, and then after quiet time you clean, before bed you clean. There's 3 anchored times where everybody works together and you get the house in order, so that at bedtime your house ideally doesn't look like a bomb went off. But realistically, sometimes it does because life happens, So I hope that was helpful in some way for you, empowering, encouraging, and overall facing you towards Christ, who is going to give you the identity that you truly desire, which is a true identity in him. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all the questions. I gotta go be a mom because it doesn't stop, and I'm trying to carve out time to film, even if it means that babies are screaming in the background and toddlers are, yes, in fact, drawing on my walls with markers. So I gotta go get a magic eraser and do some erasing, and then hurry up, run downstairs, take care of a whole sink full of dishes. I don't know where the heck they all came from. I did the dishes yesterday. Why do people still keep needing to eat? I don't know. So I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Is this the last time I can see you in a while? Is it the truth that you'll be living